G'day, I'm Ben from Catch Pro Australia, and this is Lawn Care Skull Sessions, the most unprofessional podcast in the world. Joining me is my co-host, the Bearded Lawnsman. But before we introduce him, we've got a round table here today. We've got all the Skag boys. How's everyone going?
Oi, g'day.
So this is the first foursome we've ever done on the Skull Sessions.
Deep and dirty.
We're also doing it outside. So
Maybe some planes, maybe some birds, maybe a snake.
Maybe some dog noises.
Horses, there's fucking horses up there. Look, I can see 5 of the bastards.
So we'll see how we go, but it's a hot summer's day and we thought let's be outside. So I'll introduce Rob Shearer from International Mowers.
G'day.
Yep,
Again.
nice to have you back.
Thanks, mate. Second time.
Yeah.
Well,
What's going on?
technically it's the third time because it was a part 2.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
Yeah, we had a big longhouse. We split it in twain.
Now we also want to introduce Benny Brown. He is the new International Skag Mowers rep. How you going, mate?
Good, mate. Yourself?
Very good. Now, everyone will remember that a couple of weeks ago, you can go back in the archives, we had Ben Brown as a guest, as a contractor. And he was alluding to a new path ahead of him.
Yep.
And here it is.
Yeah. Part of the Skag team. Part of the International Mowers now.
Skag
Family.
Skag family. Come on.
So, so I guess me sitting at a round table with all of these Skag guys, I'm a little bit on the outer.
Yeah.
Is that right? I mean, I've got a Skag.
You've Skag, so
Yeah,
you're part
but-
of the Skag family. So
Yeah, but I'm not
there's no
employed.
issues there.
You guys are like the proper inbred family. I'm just like the because you're all
I'm like the matriarch.
They're both my
Come
dads.
on.
That's what he does. They're both my dads. You're my mum.
Ooh.
God,
so
that's trouble.
before we get too far into it, Beach, how's your week been going? Quickly.
Should I lie and say it's been fantastic, or should I fucking...
We don't lie to these people.
I've had like a mixed week. Work's coming in hard and fast, and so is disappointment. My young fella Will messaged me last night and said that he's had an opportunity to potentially jump into an apprenticeship. He doesn't want to, but he thinks maybe it's something he wants to dip his toe in, so he asked me if he can have a few days off to do a trial. And like I've always said to my staff, like I'm not going to stand in your way if there's something that you want to do. But I said there's a future with me.
Maybe he's playing you for a pay rise or something.
I just gave him one. I'll give him another one. I don't give a fuck.
Fair enough.
It's terrible to try and get staff at the moment, especially reliable, handsome, good kissing staff like him.
Now, before we get balling too much into the episode, I've got a shout out now that's to Ash from over at the RGS warehouse. G'day, Ash. Here's your shout out.
Ash.
It was funny as hell. Me and BJ were out there yesterday, and we hear this bloody, "Oi, it's the YouTubers!" Bloody Ash comes coming across the bloody factory to give us a g'day, and it was really cool. So shout out to Ash. He's been working there for a long time, moving up in the ranks. I've heard he's a hard worker, and that was straight from the boss. So we love to see that.
Yeah, for sure. And it's good. People that aren't actual contractors are still listening.
Yeah, it's fucking weird.
Like I met a Sparky who listens. He's a mate, but yeah, he's just like, I'll listen. I was like, why? He's like, because it's funny.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, that's sweet, dude.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, so Benny, you've been in this new position now with International Mowers for like what, a couple of weeks?
Yeah, probably a month now.
How, like, obviously it's different to contracting, but has it been an easy transition, or is it just like overwhelming, or what? What's happening?
No, it's been really good. So I've been lucky. All the staff, International Mowers, have been great, and it's a great team. Great team to be a part of. And the first few weeks have just been trying to learn everything. And so I'm not just looking after the Skag side of things. I'm looking after the McConnell and Seppi stuff. So a lot of mulches, robot mowers, stuff like that. So a lot of stuff that I haven't dealt with in the past that I've got to learn about, and obviously get into the finer bits of the Skag stuff so I can talk to dealers and talk to customers. So.
And Rob, that's probably something that maybe not, at least our audience, even realizes is that you are not just the national sales rep for Skag, but you represent other brands as well.
Absolutely. So International Mowers has been bringing in Seppi and McConnell since the 1980s.
Wow.
So again, long history like Skag since 1991. So, you know, when we get a product, we tend to keep it and make it work, you know. Some are quicker and bigger than others, but like if you look at reach mowers hanging off the back of tractors, you know, like most of them are McConnell these days. So we really do well in that market. And Seppi mulches, it's an Italian-made product. Greenies don't like them.
Fucking Bellissimo,
They
eh?
eat trees, yeah, absolutely. So, and again, since the 80s, so one of our colleagues, Strongy, he's looked after them two products for so many years, and we're slowly clawing his hands back a little bit to, with, you know, like Ben coming on board and doing all three products for Queensland and Northern New South Wales. So he's met all the dealers. We flew to Cairns on Monday morning and made our way down to Brisbane this morning. So he's had enough of me already.
Yeah, and just quickly, what was the weather like in Cairns? Because it was brutal here.
Yeah, it was pretty warm in Cairns. It's pretty warm all the way down to, I don't know.
Did you get any swims in?
Bundy.
Do you have time to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Well, like, again, I need to teach him. He needs to think that I'm a pretty hard worker. So, number one.
So we just went for one swim a day.
Yeah, absolutely. So, number one, I hired a Yaris hybrid. And we get in the car, and the big fella sitting next to me, and I looked up and said, "Man, just put the seat back. What are you doing?" He said, "Thought the fuck on my back. What are you talking about?" So we've done how many thousand Ks on the way down, and he's been sitting there like this for the whole time. So that was pretty funny.
It was
So
even funny when I went to drive it last night.
That was like me in premium economy.
yeah, absolutely, exactly the same. So, but like you do, like on the road, like, but we didn't get to a motel before 7 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
These type of things are a little bit different.
Oh, the
And
road life, I could
it's
never
not-
do it.
you
I
know,
could never do the road
But again,
life.
our Skag families and dealer network, you know, young Wilder, we had a few beers with on Wednesday night, and that got him a leave pass from Tony, and then last night, two of our absolute favourites in Ian and Jackie at Karoi, we went out there and she cooked us a 3-course meal,
Fantastic.
and
Beauty.
so we get looked after pretty well by our guys.
And now you've obviously, how long have you been with International Mowers for?
7 years this week.
Okay, so 7 years, and you've pretty much been driving that ship the whole time in terms of.
Yep.
So
So I was put on specifically just to get Skag going.
okay, and so now with the addition of Ben into this family, does that are you able to delegate now, or is this where
We don't have a hierarchy. It's not about that. We're a small
Okay.
company, so we're not into titles and hierarchy and all that bullshit.
Sure.
We'll leave that for the corporate guys. They can have that world. We don't need it. With that, so Ben will take over Queensland, Northern New South Wales with our help. Whatever help he needs, he'll get, and all of that. I'll still talk to everybody and all of that, but it's his baby to continue the tradition and try and grow it. Like, we've been looking for someone for so long.
Yeah.
How are you going
And-
to be with letting go?
Well, it's
It's gonna
we'll
be-
work on that.
I have a feeling. I do have a feeling you're a little bit of a control freak, like me, exactly like me, where I have always found it really hard to delegate. Not necessarily because I'm a control freak, but I don't really know what it is about me necessarily. But I have a feeling you're a little bit like that. Is that true or not true?
I don't so much control freak. I think I've just got a passion for what I do.
Fair enough.
And that passion will sometimes come across like that. If someone's doing the right thing, I have no issues. At the end of the day, it's about people making money. Doesn't matter if you're a full-time contractor, a part-time contractor, a dealer. In this industry, if people are doing their jobs good and everyone's making money, it's a happy life. There's no need to stress out and complicate it if we can.
Sure.
So 7 years. What have you seen in those 7 years, growth-wise, for Skag?
It's pretty crazy, to be honest. It's to think where we were 7 years ago, and I just jump in a car and use Cairns for an instance, fly to Cairns, hire a car, knock on every mower shop, tractor dealer door all the way down, and wow, they looked at me as if I had two heads. Skag who, blah blah, but it's just it's repetitiveness. It's, You get one, you get another, you get a couple of contractors with them, and in all honesty, this industry, the lifeblood of it is your contractors buying more products, and we need to respect that they're doing that. And I think sometimes as a distributor, we forget about that, and we get a little bit too big for ourselves and a bit ahead of ourselves, and forget, the passion that's out there. And if somebody's making money out of a product, they're going to be passionate about it.
Yeah, I mean, I probably disagree, and I don't agree at all that you guys ever lose your way. I think if I don't think there's probably more than 3 brands that are as connected with the contractor market as Skag, and obviously Paul Sheehan does a great job over at PLP
Absolutely.
with all of their products. And I think probably the next in line might be Ego. They're pretty connected at the moment.
Yeah,
Obviously, there are some others around the way. But when you compare it to brands like, let's say, a Deere, Toro, Kubota, Husky, whatever it is, they have absolutely no idea. I mean, look, they might have an idea, but they're not transparent.
And they seem to stick to a circle of contractors that they rely on for their content.
And that might be okay, but I think having your own personal profile in a closed contractors group I think that really appeals to the contractor market, knowing that, and it's not like, I'm not pushing for this, so don't do it, but you could get a text on a Sunday afternoon from a contractor.
Only one?
And
Please.
no, so I'll text him on a Friday night. He prefers that.
Less Essendon's playing.
If Essendon's losing, I've said this before, don't text me.
But I think there is a difference there. When someone can connect with and I know you said there's no hierarchy, but if they can connect with figuratively the head of the snake, I think it means a lot.
Absolutely. And we'll, as the guys in this group know, and other contractors that aren't even in the group, I'll talk to anyone anytime. If they've, if they want some information, we're happy to give it to them.
Sure.
And put them in the right direction to talk to other contractors, hook them up with the right dealer in the area. And, and it's an area, but, we've probably still got one of the smaller dealer networks in Australia.
So I was going to say that before when you mentioned, going around door knocking and everything. Is it the opposite now where you're just getting inundated with calls from dealers?
Absolutely. Well, to an extent. So 7 years ago, we pretty much had 10 stocking dealers in Australia. That's all we had. So we're up at about 85 now. If it wasn't for COVID and the stock issues, we'd be over 100. But we won't have as many dealers as the others because we do things a bit differently, and it's how we'll work. So moving forward, but to think that we've got 85 now is mind-blowing enough, hence why the big fellas coming on board, because it's just too big a role.
Now, you brought it up, stock issues.
Yep.
So how is 2023 looking compared to 2022 and 2021?
It is definitely looking better. It's still engines related in that. So we aren't a distributor for an engine brand, so we don't get preferential treatment, do we, Paul? So it's...
Oh, I love that.
He knows I'm joking. It's...
He doesn't listen, so he can talk as much shit as he
we
can.
can smack. I was actually talking to him this morning. He's a good guy. So it's hard. Getting engines, there's no way to put it, is bloody hard off all the manufacturers. It doesn't matter who it is. They can't build enough. They give you allocations, then they contract out the allocations, and they don't even tell you.
Yep.
So your production line at Skag will all be set up, ready to go, and the engines haven't turned up.
Yep.
And they don't even tell you they're not turning up. So, look, we're going to get a lot more this year, but our problem is that our growth has been so strong. We really don't know if we're going to get enough to supply what we need. We're not supplying enough now, as the guys are. And there's guys out there been waiting 4 months for 32s. And, I'm probably astonished that they've waited so long and that. But, to you guys, thanks, man. Like, the wait will be worth it. You know that from what guys have told you. So it's good, but it's going to get better. It has to get better.
And are you astonished at how, obviously there's growth across the board, but just in certain markets, let's say your 32s and stuff like that growth has been like tenfold, right? From let's say I don't know, has it been longer than 2 years now?
Just on
know.
that. Yeah. So I saw the 32s at the GIE 4 years ago.
Yep.
And Skag were pretty excited about it, and I didn't show much enthusiasm, to be honest, because the standard market in Australia was so small back then. So I bought in half a dozen.
And-
Gone.
And I won't tell the whole story, but to refresh everyone's memory, I remember having a conversation. I remember I was actually driving to the village, like I was working, and you said, "Oh, I got 432s sitting in a fucking warehouse in Melbourne," and I go, "What the hell are you doing?" And he says, "Oh, we don't have mulch kits for them, so I don't know what we're doing." And I said, "Mate, let me start blasting this out, rada, and then then it was pretty much balling
It
from
went
there."
from there. But the surge of 32, so prior to that, we only stocked 36.
Yeah.
48s and 52s it wasn't worth stocking. It was such a small market in
And
Australia.
when you first started, you had a bunch of 36s just sitting there.
48s and
48s
52s,
and
which we just discounted because they were so old. And they're probably still out there working now. And we'd go to America and the Skag guys would say, "What's wrong with you not selling B-Rods?" So, well, it's just not a market in Australia. And now, since the 32 was released, it's across the board. Like every size is, you can't get enough.
Yeah. Now, speaking of the American market, how has your relationship with any of the American associates, like everyone over there, do you think, because we've always probably typically been on everyone's back shoulder, no one really pays attention to the Australian market, but do you think with the growth of international mowers and the impact of BJ as an ambassador, do you think that they pay more attention now to the Australian market and maybe appreciate it a little bit more?
Yeah. So Skag's been out. Dennis, the VP of sales, come out a few years ago, and he said at the time, and this was before our huge growth, he said at the time, it's probably the closest to the American market, but your population's so small. Fair's fair. And every time we go to America, we don't just take BJ over to get lost in a crack house or anything like that. We visit. So in America, Skag sells exactly the same way as here. So they manufacture, they've got 5 or 6 distributors through the States, and then they've got dealers, exactly the same process. So we visit a different distributor every time we go there.
Yeah.
We talk to them, we spend a day with them, we go and visit dealers over there, we go and talk to contractors over there, to really cover our bases to ensure what we're doing is right. And we're following the right trend and not the wrong trend, because it's so simple to follow the wrong trend and listen to the wrong people.
Yeah.
That was something in the US, there were so many ambassadors, walking through the Equip, it was like there was a film crew every fucking 5 minutes. They would have proper big, shoulder mounted cameras in front of them, chatting away, fucking walking through the Equip. But they were all every other brand. But Skag do not have an ambassador, and it's only just there's a little sprinkling of something there in the works. So
You know what I was just thinking, looking at you two blokes right here? This is just my observation. If you ever go over to the US with these two and he pulls up stumps because he's too hungover or whatever, if he grows a beard, he could just fill in. And vice versa, if he needs to get to a dealer and he's all fucked up, just get the clippers out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shave the beard off and just be, fuck yeah, I'm Benny Brown.
No one knows what's under this though. It's fucked.
I do.
Yeah, you do.
Tony from Neighbours. Google it.
We've all seen the photo.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, a lot of work goes on behind the scenes to ensure that we're doing the right thing by the contractor market. As far as we see the contractor market as the most important market to us in Australia, and we try and respect that market as much as we can. Hence why Ben's come on board. He's been a contractor for 5 years, so he's got an absolute understanding of what's going on.
And also a previous background a little bit in sales.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was managing wholesale branches, so running branches. So I've come through sales the majority of my life, and the last 5 years was in the contractor market. So yeah, I've got definite. This is going back to what I used to do.
That's right,
but
yeah.
just in a different market.
Yeah.
What a star aligning moment though, because originally, in the US, Duncan was talking to me and you were talking to me, and I was like, no, I don't know anyone, and then got back and Ben, I tried to hire Ben to come work for me.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And he's like, I want to get out of it, and I was like, oh, okay. Next day, I was like, the fuck am I doing? I'd like send him all these details to Rob.
And I don't know if I'm starting a vicious rumor, but were you ever discussing with PLP to become a rep there?
No,
or is that never?
Discussion. I just went out to visit him.
Okay, yeah.
I did say that I was probably looking for a sales job.
Yeah.
But there was never a formal discussion.
Okay, all right. I didn't know if I was, you know.
And we need to be brutally honest that Ben has had a time of not being as clever as he is now, and may have had a different colour stander. So now he's starting to understand what the contractors are talking about. But he was a bit naive.
Well, I
I'd
mean,
say, on the other colour.
if there's anything that I can say, it's only a result of dealer local support, right?
Yeah.
Well, you talk about the work that Rob's been doing to building the brand. So 5.5 years ago, when I started my business, and I went looking for, I didn't even know what a stander was.
That's
as
right.
I mentioned before, until I saw yours, and I was like, hey, hang on, I think I want to go down this road.
And I didn't even have a Skag then, did I?
No, you
I had a
the
Bradley.
Highlander, and I didn't even know what a Skag was. I'd never heard of a Skag.
I probably knew what a Skag was,
might have,
but
but I
some
didn't.
jerk off down in Melbourne abused the fuck out of me, and I wasn't able to get one.
I was having a cranky Rob day. It's all good now.
But yeah, so that's why I went to the brand I went with, because our local dealer had that.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the things that we preach as well, is to looking after your local dealer and supporting them the most as best you can, sort of thing. So
Do you still have that machine?
sure do.
Can I have it?
Hey, you can have anything of mine at a price. I can do you a good deal.
We don't pay for stuff on the Skull Sessions anymore.
We're the most unprofessional podcast in Australia.
It's like you come and do the podcast, it's 30 degrees, it's hot. Us poor Melburnians have been in 15 degrees freezing cold.
Oh,
What
mate.
is with that shit?
You've got to
Can
bring
I-
your own water, and they don't even give you a beer on a Friday afternoon. Some Queenslanders are just shit blokes.
I've been fucking emotionally scarred, mate. I've been having D&M for my staff. I've been mowing. I need to do the 40 acres just to have a fucking
Oh.
relaxation day.
I just want to have a quick sidebar about the weather, right? So I put a post on the LNCA, and it was after last Friday, because it was on last Friday night. It was 28 degrees at 7 or 8 o'clock at night, but it was 28. Feels like 32, and we were absolutely smashing the air cons, and every window was like dripping. You know, like it was. And I was coming out to have a ciggy, and I was just like, holy shit, like it's fucking hot.
Yeah.
And so I put a post up, and it blew my mind. Rob said he had to almost put on a jumper
Where
down
the fire
south,
going?
and
Fuck's sake.
and some dude reckons it snowed in Thredbo.
It was
1.5.
Ball in Victoria too.
So Wednesday, I catch a plane to Melbourne to go to Skag HQ. Being how hot had it been up here, packed my bags, but then got off the plane and went, holy crap, this is freezing.
Oh.
I'm like, I didn't pack a jumper. Like, it's February.
You've got the string bikini now.
And also,
Well, that's standard uniform for us.
and also, us Queenslanders, we feel it different. So like, you might be like, oh, okay, maybe I'll put a jumper on soon. I bet you I'd already have like 3 layers on.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I'd be
sure.
probably like, no, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah, no humidity, just cold
Yeah,
wind.
it's just strange. February in Victoria is normally our hottest month.
Yeah, well, it usually is here too. Like, or I don't know if it actually. I definitely know it's more humid.
Always hot.
I know it's more humid, but I don't know. Maybe we just get to February and we're like, fuck it, we need March or we need April.
That last week, that week, that was fucking roasting everyone.
That was
I felt
crazy.
so bad.
Yeah.
Like I was delivering like Maximus fucking drinks to all the boys. I was just felt like shit. I was like, oh my god, I'm hot and I'm driving around.
So I had
Everyone.
to deliver some Catch Pros to a local dealer, and it might have been on the Wednesday or whatever. And he was having lunch, and I went upstairs into his lunchroom, and I see the aircon unit totally not on. He's as fucking hot as hell, and he's just the salesman, so he's not a mechanic, right? And I said, Dan, when are you going to turn the fucking aircon on? He goes, Benny, all the boys are down there sweating their asses off. I'll sweat with them. It's all right. So
He's a better bloke than me.
head back in there on Friday to drop off one more item. All the doors are shut. No one's allowed in the mechanic area because it's all shut off from inside the shop. And you go in there and it's like, oh, this is beautiful.
Oh,
So yeah, no man, it was hot.
yeah, it was gross.
So let's talk a little bit about maybe some new stuff that could be coming in now. I did a little teaser on the 21 inch.
Yeah.
Is there any, like, we don't want to promise anything necessarily, but there's been a fair bit of hype about it.
Been a lot of hype. We would have sold quite a few already if we had them. So we've got a couple on the water for testing.
Sure.
So in the 5 horsepower.
You got my address, right?
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Absolutely. It's but the feedback we're getting is we're getting a lot more interest in the 7 horsepower.
Yeah.
So obviously a bit different. It's not something that's readily available in the market, and extra horsepower has got to work in something that size. So it's our first foray into a 21 inch. The 30 inch is going good with most of the guys. It's we're honest. We've had a couple of little clutch issues with them. They've been sorted, and it happens with a new product sometimes.
Absolutely.
So there's no such thing as a perfect release. So all the testing on the 21 in the States has been done around Minnesota,
Yeah, okay.
which is the wettest, thickest grass in America. So, which is good. As we know, it's not a huge chute. It's a self-propelled with a smaller chute. The chute on it's more of a vertical chute, isn't it,
It's
BJ?
very deep.
Very deep.
Very deep. Like the whole width of the back
Yeah.
end. And I mean, I can't tell if it's bigger than a normal chute. I think it's very much higher.
It's higher
by
than
at least 3 inches.
Yeah.
Those normal shoots are just fucking pathetic.
Yeah. But I mean, like we spoke to them, like they're so accommodating. Like they spoke to us. They said,
So Matt, the head engineer at SCAG, so BJ had started mentioning, what was it?
the Rover Pro Cut,
Which
with the full
everybody
chute.
loved with the full chute. So that was the Sunday night at dinner.
Yeah, plenty of drinks.
When we got to the SCAG factory at 8 a.m. the next morning, Matt, the head engineer, had all the specs of that mower, bang, compared the sizes of the chutes, the whole lot.
Hey, that's funny because they wouldn't have had that over there. Hey,
No,
the
I'd
Rover.
never heard of it. I'd never heard
Because
of it.
Rover is not. That was only Australian, right?
Yeah, he was taking notes in his phone as we were talking to him about what the Australian contractor is after. And every post you see about any push mower,
Yeah, we've done our own
we
market
want a
research.
fucking full chute.
Yeah.
And we're like, but they were so accommodating. They were like, try it out. Let us know how it goes.
Can someone talk to me about the 4 height adjusters?
Yeah.
Is that something that's will it come here like that, or
Absolutely at this stage.
Okay.
And unfortunately, there's probably not the perfect mower, let's be honest, in that sense. And
But
you
only that
guys
sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, agree?
You guys all know better than me how often you adjust your chute. My philosophy is, well, if it's going to be more productive, the horsepower's there. If you're getting off and on jobs a little bit faster, we're talking 15 seconds to adjust the height. So some guys will get caught up on it and say, I'm not buying. That's fine. That's up to you, dude.
But do you think it's something that you could get changed down the line, or just wait? Is it
SCAG listens.
Yep.
So absolutely they listen with that. So they might. If they can come up with a simpler system, I'm sure they will.
Because I'm not really sure. Like, I'm just thinking out loud, but like the only real advantage to that system is the pitch.
Yeah.
And so for anyone who's just listening and not watching, I mean, the Americans will quite often have the front of their decks pitched maybe 10 mil lower than the rear, and it just helps with vacuum and all sorts of stuff. Like I do the same thing here. You do you?
Yeah,
Well, you do until it flogs out.
Yeah, well, I flatten most of my decks out, but I think with the pitch, like it'd be better off having the front end up and then the back end to lay the grass. I thought.
No, so it's I mean,
I just want.
I don't want to sound dumb or anything because I'm not being technical around it, but it's supposed to be about the airflow and the way that it picks up. But Will, he pitched my deck for me.
Yeah.
When I bought my machine.
Yeah.
So
And a lot of guys do. It's mostly a 1/4 inch, and the philosophy is on a zero turn, for instance. most zero turns in the States will pitch it a 1/4 inch forward at the front.
That's right,
because
yeah.
it gets your grass to stand up a little bit faster.
Yep.
And the faster that stands up, the more chance you've got of not leaving stragglers behind.
Yeah.
So it gives you better velocity through your deck.
But that would be the only real benefit of having like some sort of dual.
Yeah.
So realistically, even if they didn't have an override, even if they just had a front and a rear, at least that's
Yeah.
helping.
Yeah, too.
You know?
absolutely.
Yeah, I know for us, it's not gonna it won't make a difference because our village is they're all cut at the same height, so we can mow all day on the same height. It doesn't matter.
Well, I just know from myself here, and obviously you know about my grass issues, but you know, because I got like a million fucking types. I can mow one. I can change my level here probably 4 times throughout the different patches, and so look, from the feedback that we got, that was the biggest negative.
Yep, and it is what it is, and you know, like at the moment, that's how they're going to be coming in. Whether that changes down the track, who knows? But it's we're just fingers crossed. Like we'll do extensive testing on them, so they won't just be released to market.
Yeah.
They're a single blade mower at this stage. We need to look at putting the disc and swing backs on it.
I can do that.
We absolutely. So we need to look at doing. You know,
Just give me the
whether we
whole
need
size,
to.
and give me the whole size of the center hole, and I've got it done already.
There you go. See, life's easy when you know people.
And realistically,
It's,
even the Honda, the height adjuster. How many times have you had to fix the height adjuster on the Honda?
So many.
Every single height adjuster.
Yeah.
on
Well, it's
every
not
Honda
actually. The handle wasn't that much of an issue,
I've
but
had. The pin.
it's the rivet in the. Oh, there's that.
Yeah,
Because
that.
it's just a little friendship weld.
Yeah,
That's all it is.
It's
That's
not
all it
even
is.
well,
It's just like
you and two on a Friday night.
yeah, it's just.
Same thing on that sport does.
Yeah.
It's exactly
Yeah.
the same thing.
But what it was, well, I'm talking old school Hondas. I still got it. I'm
Yeah,
pointing
no,
down
on-
here
on
because
the
down here,
Heritage.
but
That's a new.
it was the part with the where you actually put the thing.
Yeah.
That bit used to always.
It's a wear. It's a proper wear point, and it's a very hard part to find. I've fucking googled it a million times.
It's a fucking pain in the ass to get a rivet gun in there to get the bloody thing
Yeah.
back in. Trying to get a rivet gun in there to, you know.
Yeah.
So
I think it'd be impossible to have a mower that suited everybody straight out of the box, to be honest.
Well,
and a lot of guys adjust them to do what they need to do to suit their business, which is what you need to do. If you're spending $3,000 on a mower, it needs to suit your business and your style of mowing.
So I don't want to put you on the spot, and I'm certainly not trying to draw any negativity because I actually love the concept of this mower, and like I think it's great for our industry. But there was like I don't know anything about the pricing, and I'm sure you don't have your actual pricing
No,
yet.
I've got it. Okay.
But people were coming out with some outrageous figures. Where do you think it's going to be?
Horsepower is just on the $3,000, including GST.
Okay, see that's a lot better than what
Yeah.
people were throwing figures out like $4,000 for this, and I
think the
thought,
7
how could
horse-
it possibly?
No, the 7 horsepower is about $300 more.
Okay.
So, and again, it's a skag. We're not the cheapest on the market.
No.
We know that. We don't sell on price. We sell on quality because the longer you can own a product, the more money you're going to make.
And let's face. Sorry to cut you off. Let's face it. If you're talking about these markets, obviously Honda's a pretty big player.
Absolutely.
I'm just going to leave Bush Ranger out of it, just because they're coming into it, but they're only new themselves. You know what I mean? But Honda has been that long time standing.
They've dominated the market for a long time with
Yeah.
good reason.
They
Massport-
have faltered of late. Like they has been.
They're
But-
suffering the same as all of us with stock
Yeah.
issues.
Well-
they had the clutch
The
issues
clutch
a couple
issue,
of years
yeah.
ago, but they've worked, and we all have them issues. And but it's dominated the market for a reason.
Yeah.
It can't be that bad a mower if it's dominated the market
Yeah.
for so many years.
I mean, let's face it. 10 years ago, and then 2 decades previous to that, they were the hands down best
Yeah.
you could ever get.
Yeah.
And due to whatever it is, there's some new players have been able to insert themselves lately.
Yeah.
And I just think also it's pretty rare to walk into a mower shop and not see a Honda. Is that
Absolutely.
was that
If you're a
correct?
Honda dealer, you'll see it, or you'll see one getting repaired by a non-Honda
That's
dealer
right, yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah,
So-
you go out and you see the tags on all the mowers,
But-
and like 4 out of 6 will be a Honda.
But
so.
Skag's philosophy is the same with this as all the other equipment. We make to a standard, not a price. If you can afford that, awesome. Like, and that's why there's finance options. You know, like we done a little play around yesterday at one of the dealers, 36 months, low dock. It was $18 a week
For the,
for the 21 inch.
I mean, jeez.
$18 a week. If keep your cash and buy a jet ski or a motorbike or
Have some
you know,
fun.
yeah, get some.
Go to the brothel.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, like whatever rocks your boat. Like use finance, use and abuse it. That's what.
Go
it's
get a
there for.
massage, Rusty.
I think it's mainly about identifying what it is your business does
Yep.
and what it is good to use in your business. There's great 72-inch mowers out there. I never had a use for a 72-inch mower. I was never going to buy one. There's just in push mowers, you've got 19 inches, 21 inch, you've got the top of the range Hondas 216s, you've got the light, cheap Massports, you've got the battery ones, and some guys will have all three different types, depending on what lawn they're going to mow and what they're going to do. Is it tight access? Yeah. Is it a quick mow?
Yeah.
I want to get out a self-propelled mower for this one.
Do I have stairs?
No, exactly right. So I think, it'll just be
Probably not.
contractors identifying what it is they want to do. If someone's push mowing and using a 21 inch all the time through hard terrain and they want a good, reliable mower, then it's going to be something that they're going to look at. You
That's
know?
right.
So,
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's horses for courses. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think like any comment that anyone ever has right now is pure speculation and assumption. You know, and even on my end too.
Yeah.
Um,
And we like it that way too, to a point, because
You get your feedback,
the market, That's right, and we want that feedback. And anytime anything's mentioned, don't worry, I get tagged in it. And trust me.
Or screenshots or
and
something.
it does. And some of them shots, you sit back and you think, yeah, good point, type thing, because it is true. And these are the guys using them all day, every day, not us.
Yeah.
yeah, well, because Vicky is an admin on Instagram, she doesn't really pay attention that much, but she gets the notifications. So if something's hot, she'll, and I just was in the room, just kind of walking around, getting ready to come to bed, and she's looking and she's like, oh, there's a lot of comments on this Skag thing, and then she mentioned the height adjuster, and she's like, do you have to adjust all four wheels? And I said, that's the design at the moment, and I said there's no doubt that that's probably going to change. And she goes, she barely swears, right? She goes, the fuck did you do that for? And I said, look, the Americans way different. Most of the time they're cutting on like 3.5 inches for months on end.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's different to here
it's
where
also the first rollout of it. I'm sure the V rides and
But a lot
Tiger
of
Cats
the
was
opposition-
different when they first came out as
Absolutely.
well.
But there's a lot of 21-inch mowers for height adjusters. We're not-
Absolutely.
We're not the only one.
We were in
No.
most dealerships today.
I was looking at a red one this morning.
That's right,
and
yeah.
that. So it's not just us. So it's an industry standard thing.
Yeah. But what I think where you end up getting over the hump in the end is if this red one continues with that, and then you've got this brown eye gold one. I was waiting for my opportunity. That was Paul Sheehan's call, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
So no, if we got the orange one that comes in, and later on, we're able to say, hey, look, there's a certain amount of demand here, and we want it this way, and it happens. That the contractor community, residential community, whoever it is, they can look at it and go, wow, these guys, we've got some credibility here,
and they do listen to us. Like the amount of arguments I've had in the boardroom at Skag about a 42-inch Liberty was huge. And it took me 4 years of begging and pleading, and now they call it the Aussie mower.
And you know what's funny about that?
I was the biggest pest.
You know what's funny about that? If they had said yes 4 years ago when you first thumped your hand on the desk,
Yeah,
you probably would have sold 5 times the amount.
20 times.
20 times the amount, right? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So, timing's not perfect at the moment, but again, it's going to come good.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
We're going to
still
get back to normal.
there's still a huge market there for 42
absolutely.
deck.
Yeah, but
Um,
they listen to us. They take on what we say. They don't just flog us off. I don't bloody pain in the arse, Australians. They say we talk too fast and all the rest, but they're really good.
Okay, cool. Now, Is there plans for a battery option of this line?
Not in so the 30-inch battery option will be released for the American market shortly.
Oh,
So
I can't wait. I love battery
Yeah,
equipment.
yeah.
I just fucking love it.
The V-Ride and Tiger Cat are still in some final testing stages in the battery line, and I'll probably be conservative on them lines, to be honest. I'll probably want to see them operating in America for 12 months before we drill too far down into them. That's just because I'm old and
Let them work the kinks out.
yeah, it's too far away for us to be working the kinks out. Let's get it right before we bring it. There's a lot of battery stuff going on, and it's just evolving. You know, like you look at it now. Like if you look at your big manufacturers around the world, someone like a JCB, they're full on into hydrogen now. So, and all their development, they've moved away from battery, and it's all hydrogen. So, how long is this battery interest going to last?
Yeah, I mean,
And where's it going to go? Because the reality is, all the hype about battery, it's not the cleanest energy in the world. There's a lot of dirt produced to make them batteries and the rest. And then you've got to get rid of the battery. So it's not the greenest product in the world.
you just put them in the red bin, don't you?
How good would it be?
What colours
to throw a
everyone's?
bit of
What
that?
colour are your bins
Yeah,
down
red's
there?
general waste.
Yeah.
How good would it be to throw a bit of
Bung it in the yellow
just
one then.
water in
Yep.
the back of the snipper?
Bit for
Yeah.
me, bit for you.
Yeah, bit in the
absolutely.
snipper and away you go.
Add a bit of metho, we're all good to go.
Yeah.
It's so there's a lot evolving on that side of it, and I think over the next 5 years, I think it's going to be quite big. You know,
Oh, it's-
at Equip this year, the amount of battery gear and auto mowers.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah, I think cars are still a lot ahead of where the mowers are
which they
at.
will be.
But you still look at the the uptake of petrol cars and diesel cars is still
Yeah.
very high compared to battery
And
vehicles. But it'll get there.
every mower manufacturer had an autonomous mower working.
Yeah. Autonomous, the battery. Even
Yeah.
John Deere had like a full-on tractor.
Yeah.
That was a battery tractor.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
yeah, and it was a yellow one that heated marshmallows. It's for a while, so
Transformer.
Hottest mower at the GIE.
Yeah.
absolutely,
That's crazy.
absolutely. So I think that actually hit social media in Australia before it did in America. Well done, Paul.
And I actually see it's going around again.
Yeah.
is it?
It's going around again, like
Yeah.
just recently.
It
Which
always
is good. It
does.
should do.
It always
It's
does.
funny.
So, but you know, that
Yeah.
whole side of it's a bit different. You know, like Skag's been working really closely with Kohler on their new 38 horsepower EFI.
That's
So.
nice.
And and we've had a good play off it. It actually sounds like a Kawasaki, which I think is a good thing in that sense. And I've always been a Kawasaki guy, I'll be brutally honest. So I think they're an awesome small engine. But the
Yeah,
others
I
are
think I'm
starting
a
to
Quacker
catch
guy.
up. The others are starting. Look, the FX is just so strong. They just go and go and go. But I think the other guys are starting to catch up a bit now. You know, the 40 horsepower Vanguards, we're having no issues with them.
Yeah.
The big fella's using one now with that.
Now,
But
I
this-
sent you a message the other night. You did not reply to
Good
me.
night.
There was a 61-inch V-Ride with a 40 horsepower Vanguard on it, and my pants changed colour a little bit. Now,
we can't get him
He
yet.
had his period.
oh,
Can't get him yet. We got some 37s arrive in next week, I think, or
Yeah.
Quackers, one of the two. I'm not sure. I have to check. And that, but the 38 horsepower Kohler. So in the Cheetah, we're doing a release as a blackout model. So like the Patriots, which will look pretty sexy.
I love the thugged out ones,
yeah,
eh?
that's
Yeah,
so nice.
absolutely. So they're due to arrive first week of March in both a 61 and a 72, which is good.
Black
So-
and brown eye gold looks good.
Fuck.
You're
This-
really gonna fight. You know? It's and the turquoise.
Can I tell
is
it? Can I
gonna
tell?
run
Can I
too.
tell everyone the story?
Yeah, go.
So Paul Sheehan comes up and he goes, "Oh, I was walking with the Kawasaki head guy, and they got every brand of mower in this place because they test their engines on everything." And he goes, "We were walking past, and we walked past a Skag, and they say, oh, when they were choosing that colour, that must have been like the dregs of someone else's colour. Like, oh, fuck it, we'll just go with that. We'll call it brown eye gold."
Yeah, well, the actual story was Paul fucking messaged me the other day with a picture of a new Arians. He's like, "Oh, you can't tell me any of that cat's eye yellow stuff is better than this." And I was flat out that day. And I think he panicked a little bit because he rang me in the afternoon and he goes, I didn't offend you, did I? I'm like, no, man, I'm just flat out. Fucking, it takes more than that to offend me.
My philosophy is, as long as they're talking about Skag, I don't care.
That's it. Like,
Yeah.
Publicity is good publicity. And if they're talking about us, that's my job.
Did you see the other night my video in my undies popped up again? Someone searched.
Yeah, see, I didn't get to see it.
Someone searched for a Rover big wheel fucking push mower thing, 21-inch push mower, and all that came up in his search was me and my undies just sitting there. Like, oh.
What is life and
Once it's on the internet.
No.
Yeah, mate. Well, just like what Ben said, hey, once it's out there in the World Wide Web, you
It's
can't
out
get rid of
there.
it.
That's
Can't
what
get rid of that.
regurgitates like a bad Indian curry, doesn't it?
Yeah. So, do you have a pair of orange undies, Benny?
Of course I do, mate.
Okay.
Of course I do.
Cool. Busting them out
Do you have
soon.
a
That's
knife
it.
and fork as well?
Yeah.
No, nothing.
There's
Nah,
only
he's
one
got the
knife
chip.
and fork.
That's all right. You can have the chopsticks.
Yeah.
He's got the spoon.
Yeah. Sideways.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Hey, we should probably mention our good friend Will from Rosebud Mowers and Chainsaws.
Oh yeah. Let's give him a plug.
Yeah.
He's live now, right?
Yeah,
Live,
he's just gone live today.
With his
with
mower
promo.
merch. Good on
Yeah.
you, Will.
He's actually got Skull Session shirts on there, Skag shirts, Bearded Lawnsman shirts, Urban Turf
Really
shirts.
cool urban turf one.
Fucking, and these are
Dale,
like,
is he looking after Dale
yeah,
as
he's
well?
looking after
Yeah.
Dale.
That Pakenham gets his face in everywhere,
Oh,
doesn't he?
he's a good looking rooster though, isn't
Jeez, no, he is. He's a very. If a lot of contractors were as professional as he is,
he? He does have it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's got it down pat.
he's good. But yeah, young Will, one of our favourites in the Skag family, and he's obviously found a bit of a need for some online parts and things like that, and he's invested a bloody shitload of money.
Oh, he told me.
Like hundreds of thousands of dollars to ensure that he's got everything in stock, he gets it out overnight, and really he's trying to support contractors. And for us,
Investing money in
that's
the
what it's
industry,
about.
you know,
Yeah,
so,
he's not just taking money off contractors, he's reinvesting it and trying to make your lives easier. So get on mowermerch.com and look after the young folks.
But one thing that he did do was he copied and pasted all of his blade listings from the Cash Pro website. So if anyone goes on there and goes, fuck, this is really pretty well laid out, you can just thank your boy right here.
Aren't they $1 cheaper than yours?
No, well, he's going to have a great selection because he's got all the OEMs. Wait, that's not right, is it?
No,
not the
he's
OEMs.
Got,
not the
he's got
OEs.
Skag and one of them yellow ones.
Yeah.
And a couple of the others. He hasn't got all of them. He's not a dealer for all of them.
Yeah. But
he's got all the aftermarket stuff.
that's right.
All the
Yeah.
other
He's going to
guys.
have a mad selection, and he'll have stock there. So if you order it, he'll have it.
And service kits, that's huge. Like
Yeah.
people are always asking me, you know, like, because they'll go into their local dealer and their local dealer isn't always going to have Kawasaki oil filter, Kawasaki.
Listen to you
Fuel
trying to be
filter.
politically correct. Say how you feel.
I am.
They don't fucking have any of that shit.
Yeah. And,
He's also
Oh yeah, we'll order it
and
next
he
week.
has literally got a fucking pack with everything you need, with your air filter, all the oil you need, and you can just fucking go on there and grab it.
But it's
Easy,
the other
easy.
things that are complicated, but he's making simple. Like he's got GPS tracking systems ready to go and plug into your mowers. Nightmarish coming out the next morning and seeing your mower gone and you've got work to do. Like, it's terrible. So he's got full GPS systems that are monitoring the whole lot, advanced. So not just a little Apple thing stuck in the corner of the trailer, proper GPS monitoring and all of that. All your specialty t-shirts and your own logos you can do, and
20% off for contractors. Have a win there.
excluding
Yeah.
Skag.
For what? Oh no, just for his online store.
Excluding Skag parts.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. we'll see about that, everyone.
So, good on you, Will.
Sorry,
Good luck.
Malik, I'm not supporting you anymore. Liam Skag.
So moving forward, like, are you guys? Like, you've been to the GIE last year. Are you guys thinking about heading back again?
We're not going this year. We've got a
Okay.
Skag conference in September for all the distributors worldwide. So
Where's that in?
in Wisconsin. So
Okay.
so we'll head to that, and take Benny over to Vegas or something first.
Woo!
Have a
Are
bit
you
of
guys going
fun.
to get married in Vegas?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why not?
Wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah.
It's
You've been spanked in Vegas, didn't you?
I did get spanked in Vegas by a little person. One of the highlights of my life. So cool. Just absolutely. But,
Yeah.
But yeah, so and we try to give back. You know, we took the big fella over. We take our dealer over every year now, or every other year. We'll take both of them over. So we want to broaden our dealer horizon and see what's out there and get a good idea. And there was BJ might have sent it to me the other day, and they were talking about, you got all the products, and he got mentioned in it, like BG come out from Australia.
Oh,
And it's not about the products, it's about the networking and learning off other people, and so much of that goes on over there. And like we're in a restaurant 2 nights before it started, and I heard some Australian voices. So, because I'm not shy, over I go, have a chat, and it's 2 dealers from Queensland. They weren't skag dealers, but we had a chat and a couple of beers, and
I got some free drinks.
So what city was that in? Was that just before the show?
Louisville.
that was in Louisville.
Oh, that was in Louisville, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, cool stuff.
It's but it's a long way to go. You've got to have some fun. The big fella,
Fuck.
he had his moments at times, and we hit Nashville pretty hard for a weekend,
I'll never forget Nashville.
and which was pretty cool. And then Louisville, like,
I've never had a fucking hangover like that in public in my life.
so we're in Louisville, and we booked this Airbnb just off the 4th Street Live area. And last time we were there, it was really nice. We got there this time, it's turned into a crack house, which is pretty funny. Paul Duncan and Ella, the owners of International Mowers, were quite concerned, you could probably say. I just went, well, she'll be right. BJ gets in his room and someone's pissed in the corner.
Like legit, you could see it up the wall of the car. Like fuck,
Which was pretty
I
funny.
could just close the door.
Yeah,
So-
he blamed the other bloke.
Yeah.
That was not fresh piss. That was old piss. It was stale as fuck.
So you live and learn and stuff like that. So, and BJ got on it one night, and was it the Vanguard night?
We went.
No,
to
it was the night
Briggs and
before
Stratton.
the Vanguard night, wasn't
No,
it?
we went. Oh yeah, because
It was, and we're just in the sports bar. I think it was a night. We had a couple of beers with Paul Sheehan and a couple of the other guys, and then we got on it. And then the big fella said, "I'm going to the toilet," and half an hour later, he still hasn't come back. So Scotty and I went for a wander and ended up in the still party. So we snuck into the still party, and they're buying us drinks in there as you do. And then the big fella ends up with the Vanguard guys upstairs in another bar, drinking shots and syringes and everything else.
Wow.
Gets back to his room at like 2:30 in the morning. Goes to the wrong floor.
And this is a crack house. Like you fucking like I had at one night, the first night we had to jump over a fucking pool of piss in front of the elevators. You go up and you open it and you're like, whoa, like everyone's just smoking weed and it's like full ghetto. There was a lady like with a fucking big German Shepherd at the bottom of the lift.
So
Like,
how aggressive was it?
yeah, it was so aggressive. It opened up and it was just like, she's fucking holding it with all her might. So it was like a proper crack house. Not to mention, Scotty wasn't staying with us. Scotty Osborne from Ulladulla.
Yeah.
He was down the road, and Scotty was staying above a rehabilitation centre. So every time he went up to the front door, there was some crackhead just there like, hey man, I've got some money. And he was just like, when we dropped him off there, and he was there, and this guy came up to him, and he was like, have you got any money? And Scotty's like, nah. And the dudes just started talking to him, and Scotty's like, I'm gonna get fucking robbed. I'm gonna get robbed. he couldn't get in. That was the best. But yeah, I hit up the wrong room for about 5 or 10 minutes, like just punching in this code. And I had it written on a piece of paper because my phone had run out of charge. And I asked the bouncer, I was like, yeah, man. And like being Australian over there just fucking opened up doors. Like people would just buy me drinks, buy me shots, and it just. I've never had so many hangovers. But the next day at the Quick Expo, oh my god. I was talking to these boys and I just had to sneak off and sit in the toilet. And just
cold
like,
sweats.
and I was just like on the toilet, just like huddled, head against the wall. I just like sent a message to my wife. I'm like, I really love you. I'm not feeling good.
You never hear from me again.
Yeah.
And it was the outside day for the equip, so it was the day he was looking forward to the most.
Yeah.
To get out and just he's like a little kid in a lolly shop
I did
with
that.
the worst hangover you've ever seen.
I've still performed. I still perform like a
Absolutely.
champ. Met a bunch of guys. Paul Jameson, like hopefully I can jump on his podcast soon. But
And he shouted you out a couple
he shouted me
times
out
since.
a couple of times, so I must have made an impression. The first day I met him, I was all right. Second day,
Not so good.
I was fucking awful, and he was just like, "Hey, it's BJ again." I'm like, "Hey, man, I'm so hungover. Like, do you really want to?" He's like, "Yeah." That never got used.
Yeah.
The second day interview never got used, but no, it was awesome.
I mean, I was feeling really left out with all you mob over there, and I sort of said to myself, no matter what, I'm going to go to the next one. But I've actually already pulled the pin, and where I'm taking my whole family like down to Threadbow instead, because I just can't make it work with my family and with work and business. It's just
Maybe the one after you can come with all of us.
It's
If
a
you
long way to
guys-
go.
yeah.
it's a
It
big
is.
cost and a big commitment, and
huge cost for Catch Pro. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not actually going there. I would never be going there for the equipment. I'm going there to meet people that I look up to, or
Network.
people that I want to meet. You know, so
Yeah.
that's really my only motivation to go.
There's another silver lining, like the whole fat shaming thing.
oh,
That's,
how funny was that?
spurred me on to take a little bit more care of myself. That was a whole that was a bit of an eye.
Yeah,
You guys didn't fucking help at all.
So you're going to start soon?
Yeah, I know.
Me too, BJ.
I know,
Me
but
too.
there's
mate.
fucking all these customers and staff stressing me out. I'm like, I just need something. It's either crack or a cheeseburger. You can tell which one I'm fucking on.
The funniest part about the fat shaming was that a little African American girl behind the counter probably had BJ covered in size.
She's
To
having
be
it
honest,
with her.
yeah, absolutely. And it was one of the best fat shamings I've ever seen. To be brutally honest, she sort of looked at him, come out around the counter, done the whole.
She thought one of these guys was standing on the scale with me.
Because you have to be under a certain amount of kilos to go on the
to
zip
go to
line.
zip
Yeah.
lining in the caves. And so we done what good mates do. We left him and we went zip lining.
And you know what? Like, if I was a smidge over, I could deal with that. But I was like 150 pounds too heavy for this fucking thing. I was like, I'm like a whole nother person. Like,
Don't worry, I wouldn't have been able to go
we
on.
would have been on the shitty kiddie ride.
On the little choo-choo train?
On a little fucking choo-choo bus. And it was so whack. Like, I've never been on something that, like, I've got a thick skin, so I didn't give a fuck. Like, these guys were just like, what the fuck? And I'm like, yeah.
Well, we thought about not doing it for about 8 seconds. Sure, they're up. But it's not just work. Like when we go over, you've got to have some fun. Like we got to a Blackhawks game,
Oh, that was
which went
crazy.
into overtime again, the same as the last time we were there, and they got up on one. Just sensational and that. And you have a bit
I was
of
by
fun.
myself sitting next to a fucking murderer. Dude's sitting there with a fucking trench coat on, bigger than Benny, and I'm like, oh, how you going, mate? Just looked at me like just that stone cold, I'll suck your dick before I can murder you sort of look. I was like, oh my god. And then luckily, like, these guys had the whole scam down pat, so I got to go around behind the box and sit with the rest of the Skag fam. But yeah, I was
Sit with the hierarchy, eh?
yeah,
Absolutely.
because I was a latecomer. I was just like, I was just happy to be there. To be honest, it was huge.
Yeah,
That's sweet.
absolutely. And then down the Skag factory and
That was awesome. Meeting the whole Skag fam, like the American guys and girls are just like us. Like we all just sat around, talked, and asked each other questions about how things work here, and I was asking how it works there, and yeah, it was really cool.
the respect they have for us blows my mind because we are a small player.
Yeah.
You know? Like in America, it's crazy the differences in numbers. And so we get there on the Sunday afternoon and they take us out for dinner the Sunday night, but it's the president and CEO of Metalcraft, the parent company, vice president of Skag, the head of marketing, the head of service, the head of R&D, the head of production, all come out for dinner.
Yeah.
Marketing, all of them, and they're just genuine people, and I think it makes a big difference, and it makes it like they call it Skag Nations, how they roll. We've adapted it to Skag Family and Skag Down Under, and like Skag Down Under's going sensational for us now. We're up to 1.7k members, which blows my mind in a short period of time, and it's a good little site for the Skag family. So in that,
You find it on Facebook. There's Skag Down Under. So
and coming to Instagram via Ben Brown.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
far too old for Instagram, so
That's good
and
because
Facebook too, but you've made a good run of it.
well, that's good because didn't someone on Instagram hijack the Skag, or is that
I've
not?
never got on it, so I really don't know. BJ
Oh.
tells me things.
Because I'm always like, because when I do Catch Pro stuff, I add all my tags.
Someone's got Skag Australia.
I think
Yeah,
we
so-
set it up, but we've never done anything.
Well, someone is using it. But anyway, they ended up contacting me and saying, because I thought it was you the whole time. Then I found out it wasn't, and then they've sent me a text. Oh, feel free to tag us whenever you want. And I thought, who the fuck is this?
I got the same message on it.
Find out who
So
it was.
no. So I still tag them, but they actually, I think what actually happened first was I was pissed that you guys weren't resharing any of my content. And then when I found out it's not you guys, I was like, oh, that kind of makes sense.
I've shared
Um,
Skag Down Under plenty of times.
No, but on
Facebook, Skag
on
Down
Instagram.
Under.
on Instagram, yeah. So
A little tip for everyone who's just not just for Skag, but anyone who wants to get noticed by or is trying to build followings on Instagram right now, post as much content as you can right now because they're in their winter and they're not getting shit off of their contractors.
Yeah, that's
they're
a good
sharing
point.
All of our stuff at the moment. I've
Yeah.
noticed a massive increase.
Skag Nation, at least twice a week, they're sharing stuff from
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see. Like, previously, like when I first got my Skags, there was nothing. There
No.
wasn't even a fucking fart of Australian Skags.
well,
So,
what's funny, a bit of a sidebar, but we've tried to post on like Stripe Life or some of the other American sites, and like you see some of the posts that they get, like they'll just show a picture of a lawn, it'll have like 2,000 likes. And you're like, oh fuck yeah, I should be able to get up here. And you post something, and it's just like, nah, 3 likes.
3 likes.
And out of 50,000 members, and you're
I'm
like, what
like-
the fuck's going on here?
That's where I should really fucking get my ass out. I might get plenty of negatives, but
Oh, some of the
Hey.
religious sites down south.
Yeah, I like that, dude.
yeah.
I think you'd be right on Stripe Life. Kenny
gets amongst it.
Kenny will get amongst it, yeah.
Absolutely. And like
So-
social media is such an important aspect of business these days.
Yeah.
Huge.
It is.
Yeah,
it's
no,
blown
no.
my mind as an older bloke. It's really. It's not just for evil. It's not just to just hang shit on your mates, because that's what I thought it was for. Was to
I just thought it was
tell
to look
dad
for chicks,
jokes
eh?
Yeah.
It's not just posting, interacting. Interacting
Yeah.
from your business page with other
Yeah.
businesses and comments and stuff, and that's how you get a lot of attention.
Well, look at
And-
FCA, the amount of people who have like not only have like contacted other contractors, and like there's groups within groups now, and people helping. Like Ben Patterson helped out Paul with 32.
32.
Like,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
they're all good things. Like lots.
It's
of
all a
stuff.
part of building that network. And in terms of like the Instagram pages and everything, I've definitely found that the interactive posts, if you can ask them a question or whatever it is, they're the ones that gain the most traction because it is interactive. Instead of just scrolling past and seeing something that looks nice, you might get a like here and there. Someone has to actually say to themselves, oh, I really like that, and then do it. But if it's an interactive question, hey, do you guys like this feature? Do you not? Then people get engaged, and they post their comments and give their thoughts.
The same
And you always get
content.
fuckheads as well, but whatever.
That's always fun.
The best one I saw the other week was a guy who created an account called Grammar Police, and he would comment on all different posts.
Yeah.
Oh, did he?
Yes.
Oh, he'd be
It
very
is
busy.
THEIR.
How busy would he be? Oh, shit.
People are thinking it's a real grammar police. And,
I feel too, like when people bag people out for their spelling, it's like fuck. Don't judge people on their.
Man, I went to Preston Tech, so I'm terrible, so
Yeah.
I can't bag
Well,
anyone
my
out.
grammar, like I can spell and stuff, but like the actual grammar side of it, like I just get sick and tired. I see people and they do posts and they got all their commas and just shit everywhere. And you think, how long you didn't just whip that up?
No.
Like
When people use numbers as letters, I'm like, go fuck yourself. But But like when it's a legitimate, oh, there's a comma there. It's like get fucked. Like I wouldn't know there was a comma there unless my phone told me there was supposed to be a comma there.
I also have like just little things where like if I write the word cool, I've got to spell it with a K.
Yeah.
Like I just have to.
Yeah, I
and
spell
so,
it with
but now my,
WL.
but then, yeah, but then like sometimes when I'm actually like, because my iPhone now just recognizes that that's how I want to spell it. But then there is times where I'm actually having a conversation with a customer or someone else where it's like, I don't want to do that this time.
Yeah.
And I have a look and boys has a Z on it and just, you know.
Okay, so I'm a Samsung.
No way.
No, we're not losers.
Apple
mate.
for life.
Apple for life.
Alright, cool. Whatever. So my Samsung always changes OK from like OK to fucking capital letters. So the amount of times that I've set, like that's pretty fucking aggressive. Like
Stop yelling.
yeah, it's like oh, you know, are you okay? It's like, ooh, fucking calm down, mate. Oh,
Yeah, some of the I know I'm having a really big. This is a huge sidebar, by the way, but I'm having a really big issue at the moment when people email in or message about a fitment we don't have. I always just reply, "G'day, unfortunately, we do not have a fitment for this mower." And for some reason, no matter how many times I type it, it's always rewriting it. Unfortunately, we do have a fitment for this mower, and it trips the hell out of him. And Vicky will just text me, and she's like, "You're fucking shocking at this." And I'm like, I'm typing the real thing, and it's just changing it like right at the last second before I hit send.
Yeah,
So,
it's like when you.
but like people then actually send me emojis like, "What?"
Yeah, like you'll write a
Like a
real
12-year-old
word
girl.
and then it'll change it. It's like, I know what I want to fucking write, mate. Don't change my words.
I meant to say the F word.
Yeah.
Stop changing it.
Oh,
And I suppose
yeah.
if you look at all the pages and that again at the moment, there's lots of guys that promote products, which is awesome, and everyone should be proud of what they do and have and want to use and want to guide people into. But probably the proudest thing that we're proud of is the big fella here. He's the only official brand ambassador going around. We're very open and honest about it because we don't want to be misleading any contractors.
Yeah.
So I'm really big on it. And last time I done the podcast, I mentioned this. I urged the other distributors and manufacturers like myself, let's be honest, there shouldn't be any secrets. There's no need for secrets, okay? If you've got a brand ambassador, put them out there.
Yeah.
Do the right thing and know who's buying stuff, who's not buying stuff. Big fella's bought all his stuff.
That's
yes,
right.
We look after him, but he's still bought his stuff. And we love him to death and we'll support him with anything that we can do. Absolutely. So I think it's important. I think because social media can be so misleading
Yeah.
with people and people hijacking posts for no reason but it's got nothing to do with them and things like that. And I think, you know, it's probably a little bit childish and all of that. You do you, we'll do us. We won't hijack other people's posts.
Well, even
It's not what we
yesterday,
do.
in regards to like the first thing I did when Paul asked me to help do some R&D with their new battery stuff, was I was like, okay, I'll talk to Rob first. Fucking Rob's always been a great supporter. He said, go for it. I spoke to Paul. We got together, and it's like a non-issue. Like, there's no tension. There's no like, oh, fucking no way, you stay away from them. Straight up, told Paul, I'm not jumping on one of your zero turns. Keep them away from me. I don't want to touch them. I'll do anything you want with the hand tools. And he was like, yeah, fucking sweet. And that's how it should be. And that's why I said to him as well, I'm going to be 100% open on LMCA page. And it's the same with anyone else I'm going to work with. Like Rob's already said, it's cool. Then it's cool for me to post about it. But I'm going to be open with everyone and say, I'm doing this. And
Yeah, and
I'm fucking like, I'm seriously like the amount of this industry has not just brought me a job and an income and things like that. It's brought me so much more. Like, it's crazy the amount of things that have happened. Like, even working with you, Ben, we're doing a fucking podcast that thousands of people listen to. Like,
Probably not this one.
yeah, maybe not this one. We don't even know if you'll be able to hear it over the fucking planes, trains, and automobiles out here.
And the dryer.
Yeah.
Well, and we've got two dogs sitting on the deck with us, but I could hear the neighbour's dog
Yeah.
going off in the background. I thought, out of all the bloody things, right? So
Absolutely. The other thing that we're working on at the moment for contractors is you see on the page you see a lot of guys struggling mentally. You work by yourselves. And it's got to be hard because you're not getting that interaction all the time. So you're running from job to job to job. You're home, you've got young families, kids, or you're trying to get to the pub to drink 28 beers and have a Palmer. It's not a Palmy.
It is a Palmy.
No.
It is a fucking Palmy.
It's a Palmer. No.
What the hell?
No, he tried to do it the other night.
Isn't a Palmer like a handy or something?
Wait,
I nearly sacked
Well,
him.
you told him it's only a Palmer in Victoria. Everyone else
It's
calls
a
it
Palmy.
Palmy.
It's a Palmer.
It's a
He's got
Palmy,
no idea.
and now you know how I feel being a Samsung owner.
So it's a Palmer, but that's another story. It's we're working on something at the moment for, again, you guys are our lifeblood, the contractor industry. We are working on something at the moment to try and help your lives a little bit easier. I can't say too much until we completely finalise it, but over the next month or so, we'll start to get it out, and we'll probably get it out with BJ involved, to really try and support you guys in that mental health sector a bit more as well.
Awesome.
Support.
Yeah, so, for anyone out there, just obviously keep your socials on TBL and I guess probably Skagit Down Under.
Yep.
For more info on that. And I think we're getting ready to put a bow on this one, are we?
Yeah, just
Robbie's got a. Where are you going? Up?
Northern New South Wales next week.
next week, Northern
Yeah.
New South.
No, where are you going today again?
Up to the Sunshine Coast, have
So
a couple of beers.
got
with
about
some
an hour.
family.
So I'd say an hour and a half normal drive on a Friday arvo. You're probably looking at least 2.5.
Hey, thanks, mate. My
That's
six
what I'm
pack will get me there.
Yeah.
It's, no, I don't drink and drive. No. It's
You're
But-
a hybrid too.
yeah,
No.
very manly hybrid. So, but we're excited to have Ben on board, and we welcome him. Have a chat to him. Like we purposely put an ex-contractor on board for
Yep.
a reason. So he knows what you guys are doing day in. I'm not just a dodgy salesman. So it's with that he knows what he's talking about. So it's exciting times for us, I think.
And we've been up to northern Queensland all the way down, met all the dealers in Queensland this week. Northern New South Wales next week. But yeah, I'll put my details on all the different social groups. And if anyone needs anything, give us a call.
Give him a holler.
We'll help you out.
Big
So,
congratulations, Ben. It's
Thank
an
you.
awesome position.
Absolutely.
thank you.
All right. Until then, I'm at Catch Pro. He's at TBL, and we're out of time. Thank you.
See you.